Is there any hope in saving a marriage when your wife says she's completely done? Today I'm sharing Alan's story, whose wife
She
had,
checked out. She checked out. She was having an emotional affair with someone else. Marriage was done.
and how in just 2 months of applying the ARC system, he saved his marriage.
My wife came back to me. She checked back into the marriage.
Why don't you start off by telling us where your marriage was at before you enrolled in the ARC system?
My marriage was pretty much over when I reached out to you and looked at the enrollment system, to enroll in the ARC system. My wife and we got more and more distance over a few years. I tried everything I could that I felt like I knew I could do to try and win her back and keep the marriage going. But she checked out. She checked out. She was having an emotional affair with someone else. And I was pretty lonely and pretty low and managed to find you and start looking at the ARC system. So yeah, it was a pretty rough time. Marriage was done.
When you realized that she was done, and if I remember correctly, she wanted a divorce, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so she started divorce proceedings. Okay, and what did you try to fix the issues to get her to check back into the marriage before you came into the ARC system?
Threw myself at her, smothered her in trying to do everything I could around the house, do every little bit for her, constantly behind her, trying to check in on stuff and make sure she was okay. The classic things that people do in trying to fix the problem. We went to see a marriage counsellor, and that really didn't help because all we did was talk about the problems, and it just pushed more and more of a wedge between us. So, I just grasped on tighter and tighter in fear of losing it, in fear of losing that marriage.
Okay, gotcha. And so before you enrolled in the ARC system, were there any hesitations?
Yeah, there was a couple. There was a couple for me, really. Is this genuine? Is this just have I seen something online and someone's going to take my money and run with it? Is it genuine? And then secondly, if it is real, how can I afford it? Money's not tight for most people these days, and it was a bit of a struggle, but it was a can I afford to do this?
Financial was the only hesitation.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, once I'd spoken to you live, we had that initial consultation. That allayed all my fears about whether this was genuine. I could tell you were a genuine person. You were really connecting with me. You wanted to know details about me. You really wanted to understand. I could tell you were being genuine. So then it just came down to the money. And as I say, the question I asked myself is, can I afford this? And during that conversation with you, my mind flipped, and the question became, can I afford not to do this? If I don't do something different, it's going to stay the same. So, that conversation with you really allayed those fears and those couple of concerns, even within that initial call.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you got clarity from that call, man. So what made you then choose the ARC system? Because like you said, there's other programs out there. There's also counseling and therapy, which you tried before and hadn't worked. So what made you choose the ARC system?
It felt personal. The conversations with yourself in that initial couple of consultations felt so personal that it wasn't just a case of you trying to sell me a product, give me a book. It's a one-time interaction, go away, and it's your problem fixed from there. I could tell that you were going to, if I had a problem, you'd be there. If I needed more guidance, you'd be there. If something had to change to fit how it works for me, you'd be able to do that. The guys in the ARC legends in the group chats and things like that, I could tell instantly that it was something different. It was something different, and it was real. And it was real people that have probably been through the same thing and come out of it in a good way. That was it for me. It was that completely being genuine from those first conversations.
Wonderful. And how long have you been in the ARC system now, Alan?
I think it's been about 2 months, just over 2 months. I've been in the ARC system now.
Okay, and how has your experience since being in?
Eye opening, really eye opening. Things started to make sense. Things that felt like the right thing to do, but all of a sudden there was people giving me guidance to say, actually, there's another way. This isn't the way to do this. And I realized I was sacrificing myself over quite a period of time and start bringing myself to the forefront, put myself in charge, and seeing what all these ARC legends were doing and all the guidance that you've been giving these guys to flip the situation. Rather than chasing my wife, it was start concentrating on yourself, be happy with yourself, look at what you can do, and just trust it, just go with it. Because I didn't to start with. I'm quite a skeptical person. I've always been not negative on myself, but always kept myself sort of calm and leveled down. But throw yourself into this system and the way it is and the way it's laid out, and all of a sudden you start focusing on yourself. You believe in yourself. You realize how good you are already. You start appreciating yourself. That's been huge for me.
Wonderful.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah, working on your self-worth. I believe you're a nice guy, Alan, right?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely have.
Yeah, what's really important is to heal from the trauma. It's traumatic when your wife says she wants divorce and checks out. So we got to heal the trauma, but then we got to work on your self-worth, which is exactly what you're talking about, focusing on you. So that's wonderful, man. Thank you for so much for sharing that. And so, what would you say are the three specific benefits that you've gotten from the ARC system?
The first one it gave me was some focus and direction. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I needed help. I was reaching out for help, and you were there. And the ARC system's given me that direction to go from. Where to even start? You know, it gave you the start point. It gives you that route through what to work on. And by having that focus, all of a sudden my energy levels started coming back up, and I started to rediscover myself. So that's the three big things: that direction, energy, and rediscovering myself. That's the huge three specific bits for me at the moment.
Wonderful. And as you know, we pride ourselves on the support that we have in the group and the ARC legends that we have in there. So could you maybe explain briefly the benefits you've had from being around like-minded men to the ARC legends and the community that we have in the ARC system?
Yeah, they're an amazing bunch of guys. You know, day one, as soon as I was introduced to the group, they were reaching out, making contact, letting me know what they've been through. If there's any questions, any problems, anything you need help with, reach out to any of them. You call them legends, and that's the only word for it. That really is the right word for it. They're so welcoming. They're non-judgmental. And that's a huge thing, you know. Coming into this, you're so self-conscious about feeling like you're a failure, and you walk into this group of guys who are just there to look out for you and really pick you up and go, "Hey, I've been there. You can get out of this. Follow this route. You will get through this." So they've been amazing, absolutely amazing.
They are absolutely amazing, and we do pride ourselves on the guys that we have in the program. They're a high caliber, to say the least. What's one thing, Alan, you've learned then? So not that's something that we explicitly teach, but that you've learned from being in the program.
For me, I didn't realize how much I like pushing outside of my comfort zone. I've always lived within my comfort zone. I've always, the nerves have built up and it stopped me doing it. Don't get me wrong, the nerves are still there, but I push past those nerves now to see what happens next. And it turns out I actually quite enjoy it. You know, even things like this now, communicating and talking to people, I would have done my best to stay away from this in the past. Now I'm embracing it to see what happens, and just going with the flow.
Wonderful, man. Yeah, you have become a strong, magnetic, independent man with exceptional communication skills. Love it. Wonderful. Okay, so you're in the system now 2 months, Alan. Why don't you share with us what's changed in your life in the last 2 months?
This energy has given me something else. It really has. I've started going back to the gym more. I've lost weight. You know, I've always been an overweight guy. I've started losing weight because I've been able to eat better, because I've got better control of myself. I've started gaining control of my emotions. My emotions are still there, but I can think about them now. I can not control them, but I can understand them and understand which bits to let out, which bits to keep in. And finding myself and that joy, finding I've rediscovered that joy in my own life, to know that what I want's okay, to be who I am, embrace who I am, be happy with who I am, and that's really coming out. And the added benefit to that really is my wife came back to me. She checked back into the marriage. You know, it's I really did think this was done and it was all over. So this was about changing me now to make me better for the future. And it's kind of icing on the cake. It wasn't the reason in the end, but the icing on the cake is my wife's come back to the marriage, and we're working on things. You know, we're not perfect. We're far from perfect, but she's seen the changes started in me, and it's driving her to start making changes in herself as well. Start questioning her own beliefs and start questioning things and allowing herself to open up to me, to come and talk to me, rather than confiding in her friends that she was before, or the emotional affair that she had. You know, she checked out with another guy. She's now coming to me she's coming back to me again. She can see me as a strong, independent man that she can confide in, and she's she can see that confidence in me. So it's brought her back. It's that magnetic part of it, the communication and independence that I'm finding from this. It's just allowed me out of my shell, out of my box. It's opened my voice back up again. Found me.
Wonderful, Alan. And I think what you're referring to here, man, is the biggest mistake that most men make when they hit hard times in their marriage is they look at trying to fix their marriage before they fix themselves. And everything you've just talked about is exactly right. You know, I asked you how things have changed in your life, and you focus on you first before you even loop back around to what's happening between yourself and Rachel. So really good job, man. You worked on fixing or healing yourself first, and then the byproduct is that reconnection with Rachel and her
Yeah.
checking back into the marriage. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to you and your kids. I'm so happy. It fills me with joy, man, to hear that things are going well there. So for somebody that is watching this video, you know, maybe like Alan 2 months ago, who's watching this and he's like trying to assess, is the ARC system right for him? What would you say to him? Somebody who's facing divorce, finds like that there's maybe no hope in their marriage, but wants to give it their all and give it a shot. What would you say to them?
I'd say do it. Go for it. Throw it all in, because it will change your life. Whether you can fix your current relationship and regain your relationship you've got right now, or whether it helps in the future with a future relationship, but it enroll on this program. It makes you find you, and that's the most important bit. That when I was in that situation before, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I had to fix myself first. And for people sitting back at that point, you might not think it. You'll be doing everything you can to sacrifice yourself for your wife, for your girlfriend, for everybody else. You'll put them all first, and you'll put yourself to the side. You'll stop doing your hobbies. You'll stop seeing your friends, and you don't realize how much that is actually what you should be doing. Focus on yourself, and this course does that, and it's brilliant for it. Absolutely brilliant.
Wonderful, Alan. And so finally on this, so how does it feel, man? So 2 months ago, you were facing divorce. You was checked out, having an emotional affair. You're in a tough place, man. It's lovely seeing you today and seeing, like you said, you've come out of your shell. You're exuding this confidence. How does it feel, man, to know that you did this, that you backed yourself when you're in one of the most toughest times of your life, but you backed yourself? How does that feel today?
Feels really good. And that's something a few months ago that I wouldn't have said about myself. There would be no confidence, no self gratitude of, I'm a really good person. And deep down, I know that now. And I love and respect myself more than I ever have. And by doing that, that's where the magnetism comes in, and you'll be getting that confidence. It's just an amazing one. I actually believe that I'm a good person for probably the first time in my life, that I'm worthy. I'm good enough. I am good enough. I'm not perfect. I've got some edges that need polishing, but I'm a good person, and I'll work on it.
Wonderful, Alan. Thank you so much, man. That fills me with joy. So congratulations to you, to Rachel and your kids, the whole family. Would you like to get the same incredible results like Alan? Then you need to watch this next video on how to become irresistible to your wife.